It's Crack-a-Lack-and Joseph. So I don't know if you like being called Joseph, so I apologize if you don't. Anyways, good morning. I'm going to kind of throw a lot at you today, so if you get a little lost, let me know. And just let me know if you need more time tomorrow. Anyways, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is looking at functions in general. Now, remember we looked at a lot of functions this year, right? We had y equals mx plus b. We had exponential functions that we looked at on Monday. And then we're currently looking at quadratic functions with parabolas. And so all of those and even more, there's a lot of functions out there, have a connection of either odd or even functions. And so I know we haven't talked about this yet in general. And so if you get a little lost, let me know. But anyways, I'm not going to read the definitions for you because the definitions can be a little confusing. And so I'm just going to kind of read this little blurb here for you. So if you plug in a negative x, and so what I mean by this is that you're going to replace all of your x's with a negative x into the function and get a negative of the function back again. And what I mean by this is that all of your terms change signs. And so our original equation, all those signs are going to change. And so what I mean by this is that if 5x to the fourth becomes a negative 5x to the fourth, negative 2x to the second becomes a positive 2x to the second, and plus 1 becomes a negative 1, we now have an odd function. But if they stay the exact same and nothing changes after replacing the x's with negatives, we have an even function. And so let me show you what I mean by this. So again, let's say we change our 5x to the fourth to a 5 times negative x to the fourth. Negative 2x to the second, change it to a negative 2 times negative x to the second plus 1. So I do something like this, if that didn't make sense. And then I solve. So negative x to the fourth will be negative x times negative x times negative x times negative x. Well, a negative times a negative becomes a positive. And then a positive times a negative is a negative, but then we have another negative times a negative. So in reality, we are actually going to continue having a 5x to the fourth, right? And then if we look at negative 2x or negative 2 times negative x to the second, we're going to do negative x times negative x. And again, that's going to become a positive x. Well, positive x times negative 2 is going to be a negative 2x squared. And so what I'm kind of hoping you're getting from this is that because these are even exponents, right, they're going to make our x's become positives again. And so because we're going to end up with something like this, right, notice how everything is still the same, right? Nothing changed, even though we changed our negative exponents or our exponents to negatives. They're still the same. Nothing changed after we did that. So we have an even function. Now look at this next example. We have 2x third minus x. So again, we're going to change all of our x's to negatives. So now we have 2 times negative x to the third and negative times negative x. So again, let's do negative x times negative x times negative x. Well, we're going to end up now having a negative 2x to the third. And then if we do negative times a negative x, that's going to become a positive x. Now notice how every single one of our pieces in our equation changed. Our 2x to the third is now negative 2x to the third, right? And then our negative x now is a positive x. And so because every single one of our signs changed in our equation, we have an odd function. All right? And so let's look deeper at this. Now, unfortunately, there is also the idea of having it be neither. And the only way for it to become neither is if only one of the pieces in your equation becomes the opposite sign. And so notice how in my example here, right, replacing my x with a negative x and solving, notice how the only piece that became a negative was that negative 5x to the third, but my negative 1 stayed. And because my negative 1 did not change, we don't have either an odd or an even. So we have a neither change. Okay? If that doesn't make sense, let me know. And then we can kind of look at this example down here. Notice how every single one of my change or signs stayed the same. And because all my signs stay the same, we have an even